Hello, I'm Diane Honeycutt, and I'm one of your Cabarrus County Commissioners, and I'm honored today to have the pleasure of hosting today's edition of Out and About Cabarrus County. Today we'll be talking about the American Red Cross, and we're thankful to the All Saints Episcopal Church, who's hosting a blood drive today and allowed us to come in and share this conversation with you in this environment, so thanks to them. I've always been a supporter of Red Cross, but many years ago, one of my first volunteer efforts was as chairman of the board for the American Red Cross. And so over the years, I've come to respect and admire so much the difference and impact that they make in lives, not just here locally, but all across the world. So I am excited today to have as our guest Sheila Crunkleton, who is the Executive Director of the Southern Piedmont Chapter.
Yes, absolutely.
Of the American Red Cross. See, I got that right.
Yes,
good deal.
very good. Thank you.
So welcome, Sheila. We're glad to have you. I know you guys have a lot going on, and particularly this time of year. But tell us first a little bit about how you and how you got into the Red Cross and how you ended up here with us.
Yes, well, actually, I've been with the Red Cross 10.5 years now. 3 years before that, I was on the board of the Union County chapter.
Okay.
Then they came to me and said, we're looking to hire a development person. Would you be interested? It was my dream job. I always wanted to work for a nonprofit, and I said, absolutely. So 10.5 years now, I have been on staff, and I absolutely love it.
Well, I have to say, I know you well enough to know they could not have found a person with more passion for the Red Cross and making a difference as you. So we're all very lucky to have you in that role.
Thank you. You don't work for a nonprofit unless you're passionate about it.
Well, and it comes across. So thank you very much for what you do. So let's start. I think when we look around here at the blood drive that's going on, a lot of people, when they think Red Cross, think blood.
Absolutely.
But there are so many more services that the Red Cross does other than blood. So I want to ask you to play a little game with me here. We're going to play not speed dating, but speed Red Cross. How about that?
That sounds good.
And I'm going to call out a few of the services that you guys do and just ask you to do a quick overview of that service. And then if people are interested in knowing more, they can go to your website and find out more about those. So let's start with national disasters.
Absolutely. National disasters, when that happens, we start working on that as soon as we hear something is coming. If it's a hurricane, if it's a tornado, flooding, whatever it may be, we start doing a call down of our volunteers saying who is possibly able to deploy, who can help out. If it's going to impact our area here at home, we're going to make sure that we can take care of our home chapter first, and then we're going to have our volunteers ready to deploy. But that is work that takes place long before the disaster ever happens. It's something that we have to practice, and we have to know what we're going to do.
How about the life-saving blood, which most people are aware of?
This is the ultimate gift. This holiday season, you don't know what to give somebody, come in and donate blood, because this is the ultimate gift. It is every 2 seconds somebody in this country is going to need blood. And right now, with all the snowstorms we've had up and down the East Coast, blood drives have been canceled. Drives like this are even more important than they've ever been.
And people who think that they don't have an opportunity to save a life can save a life and make a difference. That's exactly right. Well, how about training and certifications?
Our health and safety services, now called training services, that's our CPR, first aid, AED training. Used to be babysitter training. We now have that online, so children can do that. I did that. Swim lessons, we train the trainers, and they come out and train the students. But again, a life-saving mission. It is something so important for people, everyone, to know how to save a life and know how to do CPR and first aid.
So here's one that was kind of new to me. It's what you do with military families. So if you can speak to that.
Yes, our service to the armed forces, that's where we started. 137 years ago, we started with our service to the armed forces right there on the battlefield with Clara Barton. And she wanted to make sure that every soldier was taken care of on either side. It did not matter. Where neutrality is very important to us, and we still take care of our veterans, our servicemen and women as they deploy, when they come home. We're there from them from the start to the finish. We're going to make sure that they are taken care of.
And international services.
International services, you don't think too much about how could that really impact us right here in Cabarrus County, but it really does. When there is an international disaster, we are part of that international network of International Red Cross, Red Crescent societies. So we have to be prepared to take care of our communities or our countries as they need support. Now, they have to ask the American Red Cross to help them before we can actually help them. So then we can raise money, send it to them. We can support them with volunteers should they need that. Most of the time, it is going to actually be money. So
Okay.
they have their own volunteers and we can support them.
So let's drill down a little bit to the local level.
Okay.
So we've had several floods this year. We just experienced the hurricane not
Absolutely.
too long ago.
Right.
So how does the Red Cross help our citizens locally through emergency services? Tell us how that works.
Well, we have everything from that family that's had that house fire last night that may have been burned out, standing out there on their front yard, watching everything they own go down in ashes, literally. We're there for that family to make sure that they have a safe place to stay, that they have money to start their road to recovery. And then we're going to have caseworkers who are all volunteers who are going to work with those families afterwards to help them on that road to recovery. When it comes to disasters, whether it's Hurricane Florence or if it's just bad storms coming through, we have volunteers ready to mobilize at a moment's notice. And we're going to make sure that people are safe. We work with emergency management, and those are calls that happen on a weekly, bi-weekly, constant basis. We have to know our emergency managers. We have to be able to contact them. They have to know us and be able to contact us and know what our capacity is to be able to work with them. Emergency management makes the calls to open shelters, and then we support them by opening those shelters. And we can support them with our partners at DSS, Health Department, law enforcement, everyone else that's needed to do that. But we take care of everything you see us do on a national level, we do right here at home as well.
And how many volunteers does it take for you to open a shelter, and what size shelters do you normally open, or is that dependent on the disaster?
It's dependent on the disaster, but our different locations, schools are mostly our shelter locations, schools and churches, because they tend to have the cafeterias, they tend to have the kitchens, the showers that we're going to need to be able to take care of people. And we work with them. We do shelter agreements, so we have conversations well in advance of any disaster. And then we have to look at where did the disaster impact and what area, so then we'll know where to open up that particular shelter. And once they make that call, once we've kind of agreed on that mutual location, then we set in motion with our volunteers. And it takes a lot of volunteers. We have in the southern Piedmont over 400 active volunteers, and those volunteers are spread out amongst our 6 counties. We have to have them ready, and the idea is for the first 72 hours we take care of ourselves, and then if we need bigger or more, we'll bring in people from other areas, from our region, from across the country, wherever we may need them. Hurricane Florence was a perfect example. In our 6 counties, we had shelters opened up in 5 of the 6 counties.
Okay.
Cabarrus was the only one that did not, ironically, have to open up a shelter, but we were prepared in case they needed to.
Well, that's a question I have for you. Obviously, if people want to support the Red Cross financially,
Absolutely.
is always key.
Yes.
But aside from that, people who want a more hands-on experience. So I know during the recent hurricane, I heard several people here locally say, gosh, I'd love to go to one of the areas and help. Well, I would assume you don't just wake up one morning and go. It takes some training, certification.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about how that works.
Our volunteers are all trained, and that training is all free of charge. So what we'd like people to do is come to redcross.org/volunteer. Go ahead and fill out the application. All of our volunteers go through a background check. Obviously, they're intentionally dealing with children and a lot of confidential information, so that background check is crucial. Once they do that, then we have a mentor work with them and see what they're interested in. And you may think you're interested in disaster when in reality you may prefer to go to some other routes, and that's okay. We love our volunteers. We're 90% volunteer led, and when we work with these volunteers, we go ahead and start that training now. So my hope is if people see this and they're interested, come on now, come see us, register, we'll get in contact with you, we'll start that training. So when that next disaster happens, and it will, that you're trained and you're ready to go and you can deploy immediately and get out there and help these people. There's nothing more rewarding than actually deploying and helping them.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine from when you see people in those fires, California, other places, the disasters, like to see the Red Cross pull in has to be a sign of hope.
Yes,
for
yes.
people that not too many organizations
That's what
can
I
talk
hope they
about.
are.
Yeah.
And we
so-
work. It takes so many organizations to do this. Our partners at Baptists on Mission, formerly Baptist Men, our partners at Salvation Army, we all work together, and there's so many more partners.
Right.
We have to work together to make sure that we can meet the needs of every community out there. And sometimes we are stretched thin. Last fall was tough with hurricane after hurricane, storm after storm, the wildfires, flooding. It's been busy, but we have to make sure that we're there to take care of those communities, and we are. And we did have local people that were deployed to California. Yeah.
Well, hopefully some of the people listening who said I want to do that will listen to this and go on the site and try to go through the process. So with these disasters that come about, like the people on the East Coast and places where this is not going to fix itself in 2 months or 3 mons. It's going to be a long-term recovery. So how does the Red Cross play into the long-term piece of that?
We work with our partners at FEMA, and we look at what we're already working in almost every one of our counties in the southern Piedmont with FEMA right now to look at long-term recovery efforts and how we can help these communities we serve. It's important. It's important that we work with, that we know all the nonprofits, what they do, that everyone kind of stays in their lane, and that we can refer people to other places. We want to be the organization that is the cross through, that people can come to us and know that we literally can send you where you need to go.
Places,
yes,
right.
yes.
Well, so tell me what I haven't asked you about the Red Cross before we
Oh, my
close that
goodness.
you might want to share with the viewing audience.
You know, I look around me and I see all these blood donors today, and that makes me so happy. When I go out and I'm wearing this Red Cross badge, probably 99% of the time somebody says something to me about blood.
Right.
And we do so much more. We're helping. We had a pajama party this weekend, which thank you to your group that
our pleasure.
supplied some pajamas.
Yep.
And we had a blast up there with our veterans in the hospice house. We were prepared to support them all through the year to make sure that they have the pajamas they need to when they come in and don't have any clothes on their back. These blood donors right here, this is they're giving something that the only place you can get it is through a donor's arm. There is no other way to get blood or blood products when you need it. And every 2 seconds, as I said before, somebody is going to need blood. And right here during the holidays when people are traveling, it is crucial. So please go to redcrossblood.org and find a blood drive near you. Give this wonderful gift and make a difference, because this is what else can you do today that you can say I've saved a life for 3? And that's it. This is it.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate, again, like I say, your passion and enthusiasm for the Red Cross and for the difference it makes in people's lives, not just here locally, but across the world. So thanks for being here.
Thank you to our partners at Cabarrus County for everything you guys do.
Well, it's our pleasure. And to our viewing audience, we want to say thank you for joining us today. We want to thank the All Saints Episcopal Church for allowing us to film here. And if you have a topic that you would like to see out and about, don't hesitate to contact us and let us know. And we look forward to seeing you out and about Cabarrus County.
If you have suggestions for topics or location that you would like to see on Out and About, please contact us. Our email address is outandabout@cabarruscounty.us.